Hello, everyone. Welcome to our second professionalism series with the Rugby Research and Injury Prevention Group. Today, Philip Tessick from the University of Michigan will go over the important topic of structuring a resume. Philip, whenever you're ready, please share your screen.
Of course. Thank you, Asha. My name is Philip Tessick, and I'm a rising sophomore at the University of Michigan, and today I'll be speaking on how to structure a resume. So first off, I think we should make it clear what exactly is a resume. And a resume can best be defined as a document that can concisely demonstrate who you are as a student, what your experiences are, and the skills that you hold that a future employer could use. They are a first impression in the interview process and in the application process that are used by employers to categorize you, to establish a first impression on you, and to also be used as a part of your interview process. One of the best ways to think about it is a marketing tool. Your resume is an opportunity for you to market yourself to an employer. So if you think about it as, for example, a commercial, a newspaper ad, you want to make sure that this advertisement advertises you in the best light possible. Now, many people may have questions on, well, when should I use a CV? What is a CV? What is a resume? I thought a resume was the same thing as a CV. Well, right now, let's go over a quick difference between the two. A resume is derived from the word resume in French, which stands for summary, and a CV is an abbreviation of curriculum vitae, which is means summary of life in Latin. A resume is a brief document, while a CV is a full academic summary, typically used in a research career, a medical career, or some sort of political career in which you have to demonstrate your full academic trajectory, including your research experiences, the project you've worked on, and of course, your publications, awards, and presentations that measure your accomplishments. Resume is typically about 1 to 2 pages, while a CV, depending on length, can be as long as it needs to be. As your career gets longer, your CV will get longer, whereas a resume will mostly stay 1 page, potentially 2 pages, but the information inside of it will just become more valuable, more compact, and more calculated for the position you're applying for. When you're applying to a position, if it is a job or an internship, a resume is the proper document to use in that application process, whereas a CV is typically used for fellowship positions, grants, and positions in academia. Now let's look at how to structure a resume. Using potentially not the best example here, we have some somewhat over-exaggerated resume examples, but I think that they point out some very good points here. So right here on the left, we see that this person included a picture, which is never needed on a resume, and too many special effects in their wording and their graphics, which are also not needed, as well as the sidebar, which significantly hinders the structure of the resume, condensing your sentences on the right to be shorter or to be cut off earlier. On the right, we see font size is way too big on the top, and it takes up a lot more space than it should, as well as we see there's just too much white space here on the resume. You want to optimize the document you are sending in to your future employer to include as much information as possible and to optimize all the white space you have available. This could include changing uh, indentations and changing line breaks, sort of page breaks, the certain markers that depict how far you're allowed to write on the page. Looking at some somewhat good resume examples, we see here that the name, uh, information, and context are immediately present at the top, followed by an education, which demonstrates who you are as a student, what you are studying, where you go as an institution, as well as moving down to your experience. Experience can be divvied up into multiple different categories, including related experience, which can be related to the job that you're applying for, research experience, which is related to the medical field, to the science field, to any sort of research platform in which you are trying to further extend your career in, as well as leadership experience, which demonstrates who you are as a leader, a manager, and gives the opportunity to demonstrate the skills that you have found. The main sections that make up a good resume, as we mentioned before, apart from just include on top of a good structure with your name, information, and contact information at the top, is your education. which demonstrates who you are as a student, your relevant work experience, which demonstrates what you have done as an employee, as an intern, and then your research experience, which demonstrates who you are as a scientist and a researcher. Your campus and community involvement demonstrates who you are as a member of the community and society around you. Your skill sets, which demonstrate the skills that you are bringing to the position you're applying for, the honors and awards, which demonstrate the track record in which you have brought about in your time up to applying to this position. Some more advanced tips are to think from the perspective of an employer or an interviewer. A lot of times, in certain English classes or writing classes, you are told to think from the perspective of a writer when you are reading, or when you are writing, to think from the perspective of a reader. I think that this is very important in a resume structuring process in which you have to think about the perspective of someone who will be reviewing your resume. What is it going to be like for someone who's reading this document you're constructing for the first time? Is the information easy to find? Is it concise? Are the skills mentioned practical and emphasized? Is your resume updated? Is the page spacing optimized? Is it proofread? And is it also AI machine friendly, which is very common in the engineering world as there are mass applications to interview in internships, which many resumes get structured out through a first round of the application process in which AI generated text reviewers are able to sort of demonstrate which are the best resumes and which are not. And if you're not able to beat this process, you won't even get to the human portion, in which you are in front of somebody for your in-person or online interview. A very good tip is to use action verbs in your bullet points on your resume, sort of words as we can see in this table right here, such as administered, addressed, analyzed, and really all these words demonstrate that you did something, that you held an action in the position that you're listing on your resume, and they also grab attention while demonstrating the impact you had in your role. Looking at what a good resume breakdown could be, we have a clear structure with distinct sections. We have lines that demonstrate the certain breaks in the different sections of the resume. We have action-oriented bullet points, as I just mentioned. We have tailored content and relevant skills, and this is all very structured out for applying to a specific position. As a review of what you should include when structuring a resume, your resume is an opportunity to market yourself, and it should be optimized to your best ability to make sure that you are marketing yourself in the best position possible. It should be tailored to the specific position that you are applying to. If you're applying to a research position, you may want to include more research experience on there. Include your research skills, demonstrate that your action verbs and bullet points relate to research. If you're applying to maybe an administrative role, you'd want to demonstrate that you have action verbs related to management and keeping track of projects and overlooking a team. And you want to keep your resume concise and digestible. Many people in the interview process look through potentially hundreds of resumes for one position. It is important that you are able to create a resume that is concise and very digestible for an interviewer to move through it fast and to determine off the bat that you are a good applicant for the position they are going to be interviewing you for. It is also important to keep your resume up to date so it's ready at a moment's notice. You never know when a position is going to open and when you're going to need a resume to be put out there. It is not only a good idea to constantly update your resume for this reason, but it also demonstrates to you your growth and also keeps you cognizant of what are you developing in your career as a student, post school, as a researcher, and really anything that you're working on. Continue updating your resume keeps you cognizant of what you have done, what you are doing right now, and maybe what's missing from your resume that you have to move in there going forward. So summary, we want the resume on the left as opposed to the right for the multitude of reasons that we spoke about today. However, each resume is, of course, personalized to the individual. Some great resources are university career centers. You can check if your university has a career center that will be able to give you tips on resume building, maybe specific to your university, or if you don't believe your university has the best resume center, a lot of resume centers are free online from other universities and can be used by you. There are also different Microsoft Office templates or sort of Canvas templates, but those can also be found in these university career centers. Here are the references for my presentation, and I am welcome to any questions.
If there are no questions or comments from interns or Dr. Lopez, we will conclude the professionalism series. Thank you so much for joining us for our second professionalism series with the Rugby Research and Injury Prevention Group. Be sure to tune in again next week and have a nice night.